Hi everyone and welcome to this small tutorial that I'm preparing for you to be ready for the period exam. So the purpose of this is for you to practice a little bit more coding and understand what are the key things that we need to identify for a basic Python code. So imagine we have this flowchart. This flowchart talks about the process of calculating the age of someone. So we have current year, we have two inputs, input name and year of birth, and then age equals current year minus year of birth, and then the output and the end. Whenever we're coding, we have to understand that for the basic codes that we're doing, we have sometimes constants, input, process, and output. So let's look at this flowchart. Current year equals 2024. This is not an input. This is not something that the user will give us, which means that it will be a constant. It will stay the same throughout the whole code, so we don't have to change it. Never. We don't have to change it anytime. It stays the same. So current year equals 2024. How do I declare that in our Python code? So we have current year. That's a name. I can just write cy equals 2024, and that would totally work, because remember that you can give variables any name you want as long as you use that name for the whole code. So if I write cy at the beginning, it needs to stay the same. Capital letters, spaces, everything has to stay the same. So I have my constant now, and then I have input name. This is an input. Both of them actually, and it's in the text, it's in the box, so it's easy to identify. Input name and input year of birth. First things first, we need to give it a variable name, and let's call it name. Name equals input, and we're going to be asking for a name. Remember that we saw that we had three different types of inputs. We have int for whole numbers, float for numbers that can have decimals, and string for text. So name is not a whole number, it's not a number that will be able to have decimals, so it's gonna be a string. But strings don't need to be declared when you're doing an input, so I just write name equals input, write your name. Inside the parentheses, inside the brackets, you need to write a message so the user knows what information it needs to be given. So if this is gonna be the name, and if I write something like, what number is your favorite? This message does not help me guide the user to give me the information I want. I want them to give me the name, so I need to write a message according to that. So it's write your name here. Now, I'm gonna put this so it looks pretty. I have my first input, which is name. Go to the second one, year of birth. Year of birth, I'm gonna declare it as year, just year. So year, is it an int, a float, or a string? Years don't have decimals, so they cannot be float, so we're gonna use int. Int, input, write your year of birth. With this, the program will convert whatever input the user gives me into a whole number. The int goes before the input. We have int, input, and then the message. We have our two inputs, and now we have to go to what? The process. This part where we have to do all the calculations, decisions, conditionals, addition, subtraction, multiplications, all those things are processes. So processes are the whole point of doing a code, because if you don't have a process and you ask the user to do this, then what's the point? The point of a code is to make something more automatic so the user don't have to do it. So we will have our process, which is age equals current year minus year of birth. So I'm gonna declare it age equals current year, which I name cy, and it needs to stay the same. cy minus year of birth, which I name year. cy minus year. This is my process, and then my output, hi name, your age will be age. This is our output. In Python, the magical word that helps us show the final answers or whatever we want to show the user is print. Print don't have an equal sign, don't have two dots, it's just print, and inside the two parentheses or inside the brackets you write the message that you want to show to the user. So it's gonna be print hi, comma, I want the user to be able to see its name, so I'm gonna put my variable name, hi, comma, name, comma, your age is or will be, because we're in November or October, still October, November, December, some people haven't had their birthdays. Your age is, will be, and then comma, age. So let's test it, see if it works. My dog is deciding to attack his own dog bed, so that's the weird noises that you hear in the back, if you can hear any of the noises. So write your name here, Daniel, year of birth 1995. Hi Daniel, your age is or will be 29, and I will be 29 in December, so that means our code is right. So we have constants, which are just like literally write the number, input, process, and output. Process and output. Remember, variable names need to stay the same at all times. So here, look at this. If I change CY capital letters to CY lowercase, it mark it as an error. CY is not defined because it doesn't exist. It needs to be written exactly the same. If I write name with capital letter, then this name that was with lowercase doesn't exist. You need to write it exactly the same at all times. With this, our code is done. You don't need to do absolutely anything else.